Hi guys, welcome to another video of Pedals Are People Too from Tim Man Heart. This is where we get guitarists from around about Belfast, Northern Ireland. We get them in, bring the pedal boards, bring the guitars in, and we find out how they make the tones that they make. And I'm delighted to have Luke from Aeons with me.
How you doing?
I'm fantastic with
Good.
all these pedals and buttons and knobs and twiddly things in front
Yep.
of me, so I can't wait to get stuck into this.
Absolutely.
First of all, we'll take us through your kind of clean signal. So Strat jumps out, and it's a hell of a colour as well.
It is, yeah. So bit of a story about this one. It's fairly new. I got it back in May, and I actually pre-ordered it last December with a local guy who lives up in Castle Dawson. His name's Scott Cameron, and he's a guitar builder. Does nitro finishes, parts casters, necks, age parts, anything you can think of. So I came to the idea that I wanted an HSS shell pink Strat.
Yeah.
Brought the proposition to him, and it sort of, the rest is history, and this is it. So
there seems to be a real resurgence of pink guitars at the minute. What is that?
I have no idea, but it seemed to be sort of when it did arrive, and you're going through the whole Instagram sort of phase and all the rest of it. You're scrolling down, and everybody's playing pink guitars, and you're going, uh-oh.
It's kind of leaking on the pedal boards now as well. I've seen a couple of pedals come out.
Pink pedals.
And it's like, oh, you're clearly just doing that because there's a bandwagon to be jumped on.
Yeah, during the week I actually seen a pink DD3, which was just, it looked incredible, It was like, where did you get this from,
Class. Well, moving on to the board, because, this is what we want to find out about.
Yeah, absolutely.
We've got two different setups in front of us, look, and we'll go through the pedal board first, if that's okay, and then we'll go through the Helix afterwards. So talk us through kind of signal chain on the main board. Yeah,
cool. Well, the pedal board itself is actually, the pedals aren't new, but the build's fairly new.
Cool.
I was using the Helix for a long time, and I just fancied going back to that sort of amp and pedal board setup. So I try to keep it as simple as possible. Clean signal. I just always have the reverb on the Keeley Caverns. It's great, and I just like having that bit of, just that sort of bit of slapback, It's nice, and it's just, it doesn't make you feel like you're isolated. Sometimes without the reverb you feel a wee bit of isolation.
You can feel a wee bit dry sometimes.
Yeah, absolutely. So have that on all the time. And then next I have the delay, which, just a little bit of snapback. We have a Aeons song called Take a Flight. And a lot of it is based around there and sort of rhythm guitar playing. And
do you want to give us a quick kind of example of how that would sound?
So
we might as well while we're on it.
Absolutely. So it's sort of, it's based around an E minor 11. So sorry, A minor 11, E minor 11.
I wouldn't have known the difference anyway. As soon as you start bringing numbers into it, I'm out. I'm gone.
So it's all based around this chord. So she's sort of doing this droney riff which plays throughout, and I'm sort of playing around with this and sort of that. Sort of a minor pentatonic scale. So this fills in really nicely. I bring it in with the Ebo from time to time, which we'll look at with the Helix, but it just fills the atmosphere a wee bit, adds a bit of colour to the sound. We have Jack on keyboards. He does a bit of strings in the background and stuff, and it's just to add that.
So you're filling that space.
Additional ambience. Sure. I always feel when it comes to guitar playing, you sort of need to fit the song. You know what I mean? It's not all about how many notes you can play and all the rest of it. So fitting the song and trying to find the right pedals to do that, essentially. So the delay, I think, fits that song really, really well. So yeah, it sounds great. And then moving on from that, we have the phaser, which goes straight from the delay into the phaser. This comes in really nicely in a couple of songs in Aeons, and we have middle eights sort of breakdowns before coming up to a solo, something like that. So we try to build the atmosphere. I would put the phaser on just to give that little bit of, I throw that in just because I tend to use a clean tone a lot, so I use that in the likes of middle eights and stuff, as it just adds that little bit of colour.
Just gives you something else with the phaser and with the delay as well. Would you be very tight to the timing of the song, like with the top tempo, or do you like it being a wee bit more fluid?
I just kind of go with it. I would sort of sit down before the show, for doing a sound check, go through the song. I would sort of set my pedals up to just how I'm feeling. I used to play in a band called High Sundays, and in that band I was sort of pedal mad, everything, trying to get different sounds out of everything. But
Yeah.
I sort of came to the point at one stage where it's like, okay, I'm a guitar player. I need to sound like a guitar player. So I think adding pedals just add that bit of colour, and I think people often forget like how useful these three knobs
Exactly.
are. Do you know what I mean?
I think,
So,
you know, Johnny Woods from 100 Bleeds, what
Yeah.
he was saying was the most important thing
Yeah.
out of all of it was
Yeah.
the volume knob.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. So going on from that, we go to the Klon, which
Yep.
is Pedal Monsters. It's a Klon clone, and I use this primarily for a boost, essentially. So I would be on the gain quite a lot. Just turn that phaser off. So that is sort of like a wee bridge sort of solo part after the chorus that we have in our song called Smile, and the clone is really helpful because us being a 5-piece band, there's a lot of layers. So when it comes to playing solos and lead stuff, you kind of be just you want to have your levels slightly higher
And you have to
than
cut
what
through.
it normally
Yeah.
would be. Yeah. So the clone comes in perfectly for that. So it's a really nice sort of clean boost, and there isn't too much color on it. It
Yeah.
just sort of
It's
almost boosts the signal.
it's that kind of like transparent,
Yeah.
colorless thing
Yeah.
that people talk about.
Absolutely.
Did you go
absolutely.
through many different pedals before you landed on that, or
Yeah.
was it always a clone type pedal you
No,
wanted?
well, a long time ago, it started off with an electro-harmonic soul food.
Yeah.
Sorry. So that was great, and I just fancied something different. So you go through your odd TS9, Tube Screamer, Max on OD8, stuff like that. But then, as I say, had a JHS muffaletta, and I was messing around with fuzzes for a long time. But then I just thought, let's strip it down, let's go back to basics, and just throw in a clone and have 2 ODs, which brings me on to the Angry Driver. This is sort of, it's a great pedal, it's extremely versatile,
Cool.
but for what I use it for, it probably doesn't justify it, but it's got a great sound.
So you would tend to have the pedals set in more or less one
Yeah.
position and
Yeah.
leave them at it.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly. Yeah, I don't like to overcomplicate things. There's too many times where I've been at a show and pedals have just started breaking down on me. And it's panic stations, which works,
Yeah.
which doesn't work. So, as I said, the Angry Driver, it's great. I have it on the JHS setting. They have a number of different settings where
Yeah.
they can run the blues driver into the JHS, or you can have them
Flip it in
simultaneously.
parallel, yeah.
Exactly. So, great pedal. Just for them sort of gnarly, heavy breakdowns sort of thing.
Is there a kind of progression in a song where you play without it and then stomp on?
Yeah.
Do you
So,
want to run us through
yeah,
like a kind of...
So we would be coming out of, say, our song called Smile. It goes like, Smile. This is called Lucid Dream, and the riff goes like this. Then you would do a pickup change, go down. So it sort of adds that real lift to the song, kind of keeps it driving through
Love those
along with the
harmonics.
drums. Yeah. Thank you, man.
It's
Cool.
so subtle, but it's so like...
Yeah. So, as I say, it's just a transition straight from that clean tone into something
Yeah.
a wee bit more dirtier.
Cool.
The OCD, I kind of use it for the exact same thing, but again, depending on how I'm feeling that night,
Yeah.
I would run them into each other from time to time. So
Okay.
there would be songs where I would be using the JHS Angry Driver, and I'd be playing like a chord progression. And to highlight the change, I would throw the OCD on, so it would go. And it just adds that, again, a little bit of a boost. instead of throwing the clone on, because the clone is, as you say, transparent, but it's considerably louder. It's a couple of decibels louder than what the normal signal would be. So throwing in the OCD on top of the JHS angry driver just adds a bit of a lift, but not too much, you know, where it's overwhelming. Then we have the POG. I haven't actually been using the POG a lot. I've only just recently brought it into my setup.
Okay.
So I don't really have any ideas or sort of demonstrations that I can show you with it. I'm sure everybody watching knows exactly what it is, exactly what it does. And
what was the thinking then? If was it to give you a bit of space for experimenting that you brought it in, or
sort of? I listen to a lot of neo soul bands, and a lot of the smooth sort of D'Angelo lines and stuff like that. Adding the POG in and having that octave up just below the drag signal, it just adds that little bit of neo soul sort of flavour to it, if you know what I mean. So it sounds awesome just throwing it in those sort of examples. And then the wah, of course, I'm a huge John Frusciante fan. So I had the WH10, which is sort of it's an Ibanez wah, but it's sort of a wee bit more sought after than the likes of the Crybaby, but that has ran its course. I ended up breaking it because I just used it for so many years on end.
Well, if you break it from overuse, that's hardly a bad thing.
Wear and tear, exactly. So Crybaby Mini comes in quite nicely. As I say, I'm a huge John Frusciante fan, so I use the wah primarily for like the outro of a song, like a solo sort of thing, that Danny California, where you throw on the angry driver and then the wah. So it's, you know. So just sort of combining the both of them, sort of bringing that huge sort of high dynamic outro. So the way I kind of look at the board is I use every pedal to fit the dynamic of the song. So a lot of the time, as I said, I would use a clean tone. And just using different certain colours to fit the song, it just adds that little bit of flavour and dynamic to the track.
And you feel like you can get the range that you're looking for just from... I mean, a lot of people would have more than 2 or 3 drives sometimes on their pedal.
Exactly.
And you're not very modulation heavy, so...
No. The main reason why the phasers there, I'm sure everybody and yourself has heard of a band called Incubus. I'm a big Mike Einziger fan, and he uses the PH3, so I just had to throw that on the board somehow.
Good a reason as any.
Absolutely. So, but as I say, I used to be pedal mad, but I kind of strip back to the basics and focus on what guitar playing actually is.
Do you think there is a danger sometimes that you can have too much on the board in front of you, like too many options?
Absolutely.
And too much temptation to just get down in the middle of a set and start twiddling stuff instead of just playing the song?
Absolutely. I, like any guitar player, I absolutely love pedals, but I also feel that there's this sort of dark realm of where you can have too many and you're experimenting, and then you sort of look at the clock 2-3 hours later. You know, I should have been practicing scales or arpeggios or something, you know, stuff like that. But as I say, it's wonderful. They open you up to sort of different sounds. But as you say, much like that harmonic riff, it's just experimenting with the instrument, seeing what you can actually get out of the 6 strings, and then go on to the pedals.
So you would go guitar. If you're writing, your approach comes from the guitar first, rather than hitting on a combination of pedals and building a sound out of that.
Absolutely.
Okay. Cool.
I find when it came to writing most of the Aeons songs, it was direct and then straight clean tone. And then from that, once I have a general idea, that's when I will start footing around. See
what pedals will fit.
See what sort of sounds I can get. See if I can add to this riff that I just wrote.
That's so interesting, because I know of, like, you know, with Danny and Johnny and before, and they do it the other way around.
They do.
It's like, you know, the pedal makes a mental noise, and they go, here's a song.
Absolutely.
Hit more distortion on it, and it'll be grand.
Which is so cool. It's so innovative, and I just find that I just get too busy when it comes to being down. I'm twiddling too many knobs, and I end up just forgetting about the playing. Where those guys, they can emulate their playing in with the pedals, and it's like fair play. Cool.
I love that.
Tremendous.
I love that mentality. It's so cool.
Yeah.
I think that's a nice kind of jumping off place that we could switch over to the Helix.
Cool.
So, this is right. Straight up, I've said it before. I have banned multi-effects from 2 of the bands that I'm in, which is okay. I'm one of them because I'm sort of the only guitarist. Sonia doesn't always play guitar.
Bass player.
They don't count. And in Ethan Hanna's band, I've kind of put so much pressure on the poor man that
Yeah.
he's gone out and bought individual stomp boxes, and the bassist has his ME50 sitting in the corner
Yeah.
over there. It's broken.
Yeah.
I'm happy with it being there. That's cool. But you know, the Helix is kind of taking things up a level
Yeah.
when it comes to multi effects.
It really has.
What was it that kind of, you know, you said you've been back and forth a
Yeah.
little bit between stomp boxes, multi effects.
Yeah.
What inspires that change?
Well, as you know yourself, I work in a music shop in Dundonald, which is how we initially met.
Yeah.
So with sort of knowing the knowledge of pedals and what they do in different types and multi-effects and stuff, I was just so interested when the Helix initially came out, but at the same time I was really afraid of jumping into that realm. So last year I bought the HX Stomp, which you might have heard of,
Yeah.
and I integrated it into the pedalboard because it was perfect. I could have an FR monitor or
Yeah.
a PA system, much like we're going through now.
I think that was whenever I first kind of found you on like Instagram and stuff.
Mhm.
That I think you had the HX on your board.
Yeah, I did.
And I thought that was a really interesting way of having the
Yeah.
best of both almost.
It really was. It was almost like having the board with your M5 for your modulations and also your amp simulators. It was fantastic. But at the same time, I started going, okay, how small can I make my setup? And went to the HX Stomp and just went, this is great. This is just everything I need.
Yeah.
So I went and got the external expression pedal, thinking fantastic. But then it got to the point where it went, okay, I don't use a whole lot, but I still need more.
Okay.
So in came the Helix LT. I done a wee bit more reading up and got myself a wee bit more familiar with the devices themselves, and that was it. I went straight for the Helix, and I haven't really looked back. It has just been so practical.
And is there any sets that you would, you know, would you tend to use this for cover gigs where you need a much wider range of stuff, or does this come into the Aeons sets now and again as well?
This is pretty much everything in Aeons.
Okay.
This is everything in Aeons. The board is kind of for more sort of session stuff. The LT is just, it's perfect for the studio platform as well, home recording. And this is very easy for the Aeons gigs because we gig quite frequently. So when we're going out, all I need to bring is my guitar and the Helix, and that is it.
I'm sure the sound engineers love you as well.
They do.
No loud amps on stage.
Exactly, exactly. And I just say, okay, man, can I just get a bucket load of guitar through this wedge?
Yeah.
And that's it. And the sound is just phenomenal every single time.
Well, give us an example, sure, of some of the tones that you would go through. Now, we've heard kind of what your tones are from stomp boxes and whether you kind of replicate or go for something completely different through the
through the Helix, as you can see actually throughout the video, it's very similar to my pedalboard and amp setup.
Yeah.
We were going through an AC15. I actually run an AC30 preset, and it's great. It's actually, there's a YouTuber you might have heard of called Rhett Schulz.
Yeah.
This is a Rhett Schulz preset, and it's his AC30 preset. But I just added a couple more bits and pieces. So these little indicators down at the bottom left, that is EQ and compression, but it's like natural studio LA compression. So it's almost like the finished product and the polished guitar tone that you would get in the record, but very much the same. The clean tone is just like to have a good bit of reverb in there again, and this is the clean tone that I used exactly direct in on our single, which just came out, called Welcome to the Land.
Yeah.
Straight clean tone, slight bit of compression and a bit of reverb. And that's sort of how that song.
You would never have known
conceived.
listening to that, and I mean, not that you would kind of listen to it and think, oh, that's a valve amp.
Yeah, exactly.
But you would never know listening to it that it had come out of a Helix.
Yeah, direct from the Helix, and as I say, it was this exact preset. And as far as the setup goes for effects and a number of other things, very much similar to the board setup. I have my delay.
Yeah.
It's a bit of a quicker slapback, but it's sort of handy when I use an Evo quite a lot in the Aeon sets, so very handy for swells. And it's just something that sounds totally different. I like to integrate the Evo from time to time, just to wake the crowd up a bit. You know,
I suppose it's that kind of thing that you don't sound particularly like a guitar.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
that's what twigs people, kind of gets them.
What's
where did that noise come from?
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you want to run us through a couple of, you give us an example of kind of going from clean to dirty on the board? Do you want to kind of do a similar example?
So if I was coming through, I'll go back to our song Smile. It's always just a great example. So you go from the riff. And then I'd throw the gain on for the solo. But the overdrive itself, it's really natural sounding, and it's really nice. Again,
Would it be responsive in the same way that evolving? Even if you put off the volume a little bit.
So if. So it cleans up real nice, very responsive. Acts exactly like an amp does, which again is why it's so handy. It's just so portable, so practical, and it ticks all the boxes. It does exactly what I needed to do.
With your board, you've only really got the phaser on it. Would you be more kind of experimental with modulation on there?
I would, yeah. Again, primarily in the home studio. I record a lot at home, and I would sort of alter with the different effects. But for the live setup and the Aeons set, it again is very much similar. Phaser.
Yeah.
I have on the far left here. Again, I just like to play around, try and get different sounds.
And would you be down mid-set messing around with that, or are you pretty set in what that's going to sound like?
For the most part, I know what it's going to sound like, but as I say, I know the UI so well now to the point where if there is something going wrong, or I need a different effect rather than the phaser, or I need more volume in my gain, I can go down a couple of clicks and that's it.
Yeah.
So the practicality of it it's just fantastic, and as you say, the sound engineers, they just think it's great.
Yeah, I'm sure.
Plug this in, dead on, that's you. And from time to time, we would use in-ears as well.
Yeah.
So again, it's even handier. So Erin on stage, if she hasn't got her in-ears or something like that, we have the in-ears in, and she isn't getting the guitar straight through her wedge. She can just get her vocal, which is really nice. So as I say, it's just so flexible. You've got the tuner built in, you've a built-in looper, all the effects you need, and all the amp sounds that you need as well. So for me, it's been a total game changer.
Do you think the kind of there's a wee bit of guitar snobbery about it? And I mean, I'm guilty of that myself. I'm sitting here saying I wouldn't have some multi-effects in the bands. Mm-hmm. Do you think we're getting to the stage where the more serious kind of guitarists and the people who are really into their tone are starting to think, hold on a minute, there's these things, the technology's getting closer, you know, and there is going to be a point, I remember hearing about John Mayer in a session, and everybody went nuts. Everybody went nuts.
That's right. And as you say about John Mayer, a lot of my favourite players are John Mayer, Tom Misch, stuff like that. A lot of the neo-soul players, but I also take a lot of influence from prog, believe it or not. So a lot of the prog players that I listen to, they're operating through Axe FX, Helix, Camper, everything like that. And I was really reluctant myself going into the realm of the whole digital amp modelling stuff, especially with the likes of Line 6. Now, don't get me wrong, some of their stuff has been brilliant, but the likes of the Spider amps and stuff like that have been
they get a bad name a wee bit.
Yeah, absolutely. So, as I say, I bought the Stomp first, just going, I'll test this out first. Yeah, just see how
you eased yourself into it, and now you're a full-on
absolutely
convert.
Whereas this is just, it's great. It emulates this as much as I need it to.
Cool.
And for practicality, it is so handy. Once you learn the UI, you have endless possibilities. It's great.
Brilliant.
It really is.
Is there anything that we haven't touched on yet? Is there any, I suppose from the board point of view, is there anything that you would consider adding to it? Maybe like going back towards fuzz, or is there anything in here that you've thought I wouldn't mind having that on my other board?
Yeah, absolutely. There's a couple of things on here. As I say, total endless possibilities. You have a number of synth engines and stuff like that, and there's a couple of really nice delays and reverbs on it that I would like to have on here. The beauty of this is there's an option called snapshots, which means you can have, say, 3 different types of delay on at the one time. And if you want to go straight from that tone to a high gain tone with no delay and a bit of reverb, you can do that with the pushing one button.
Okay.
Which is very, very practical for me, because on the board, I'm a total pedal freak. Don't get me wrong. I've still got the amp modelling, but I'm a pedal freak. I love my pedals. But when I look at that board, I sort of go, fantastic board, but I wish you had 5 other delays on it.
Yeah.
All doing one.
And then you'd be dancing around, pushing a bunch of pedals at the same time.
Exactly. Especially the likes of the Strymon stuff. I would love a Strymon timeline and a Flint on that.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I'm sort of going, I can get it all in that, and I've already got a delay and a reverb on this.
Yeah.
So it's sort of that dilemma, you know.
There's a balance to be struck.
There is.
Brilliant.
Absolutely. But as I say, that the Helix itself has been a total game changer, especially for live scenarios. So.
Well, look, thank you very much for coming in. I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
And I mean, I wouldn't say you've converted me, but you've opened my
your eyes. Yeah. Cool.
Class,
cool.
man.
Great, man. Thank
where
you.
can we find Aeons and the music and stuff that you're doing online?
You can find Aeons on Instagram and Facebook, Aeons_official on Facebook and Instagram, and myself on Instagram, Luke Kerr _guitar.
Cool.
You'll find all my gear nerdery videos and stuff like that on there.
There's loads of them. Well worth checking out. I'll link everything down below as well, the video. Hit subscribe if you've enjoyed it. All the other videos that we've done are on the Tim on Heart website. It's tmhmusic.com. And another thing that we've brought in recently is a group on Facebook called Pedals Are People Too, funnily enough. A lot of the people who've done the videos like Luke are members of the group. So if you have any questions you want to ask them, or if you want to throw a question at me, or if you're a guitarist around where we are and you want to get involved, I mean, get in touch. The more people we can have, the better. So yeah, check out the Facebook group as well. It's a bit more of the whole community thing.
Absolutely.
We'll give that a go.
Yeah.
Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.